Laura. I'm so glad you're here. I can't wait to introduce you to my friend, Laura Chattington. She's a female entrepreneur. She's been there, done that, running multi-million dollar marketing and communication accounts globally and helping businesses and business owners design, communicate, and scale their high ticket offers. She's the founder of both Simplified Marketing and Offer Accelerator Systems, which simplify and accelerate business growth. Doesn't that sound awesome? Simple and accelerate. I love those words. With a
Yeah.
background in tech and communication marketing, she has over 20 years experience working with billion-dollar companies like Oracle, Deloitte, IBM, Facebook, and that's all at one end of the scale. And what I love about Laura, she always goes, "Oh, it breaks my heart," because she sees so many of us entrepreneurs trying to do the thing and we're getting so bogged down and overwhelmed, and it doesn't have to be like that. Her heart is with helping coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs with their business and marketing to remove that overwhelm, confusion fed by many in the marketing and tech industries and simplify the process to get amazing results. And this is what I love. We're going to do this workshop for a pretty nominal fee, but her services are normally charged between 10 and 100 grand. People and companies hire Laura to accelerate their results. She's directed and delivered both small and large scales events globally, training hundreds of people worldwide, both in person and online. And Laura wants to help us simplify, accelerate, and grow our business. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you, Laurie. I would love to help you. That's exactly why we're here, isn't it? Because yeah, I think in the end, it is about how you can help people, how you can, enable them to take action and really do what they want to do. I feel life is too short to be doing stuff we don't want to do, right? So really great to be here again. I'm sure we're going to be talking a few times this week, Laurie, because as you said, we're doing a workshop together, which is kind of really cool and exciting next week. And we'll go into a little bit about that. But actually, we were saying that I think it's really helpful that people understand kind of your side of the storyline, I guess, in our workshop, rather than sort of me going, blah, this is what you do, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't always really help that much. And actually understanding kind of what the challenges are. And I think I always ask people I work with who are sort of marketing their businesses or attracting clients, I'm always asking them, like, what is it that your clients are waking up in the middle of the night and going, ah, and saying to themselves? And if you can identify what that is and it's relevant to what you do, that's where you can connect with them, because that's what's going through their head. So I think it would be great, Laurie, if you just, when we started talking about marketing simplified, or simplified marketing, should I say, sort of what were the things that you are struggling with that you kind of felt like maybe this might help things work for me?
I love this question because part of the thing I really struggle with is I've had intense training with social media for my radio job.
Right.
So I know how it works, but I found myself doing all the things. And then I was getting so caught up in that it was like, what is my message? And I really lost sight of what it is that I do.
Mm-hmm.
Do I just teach podcasting? Do I help women find their voice? And it got so overwhelming. And I think that, okay, in a way, it's my own self-sabotage.
Mm-hmm.
I think most people do that. I hope it's not only me.
No, they do.
Yeah, but it's so easy to get caught up in like checking off the boxes, doing all the things. And this is what I always found myself saying, I'm doing all the things, but I'm not getting the results. And I know I have something amazing to offer.
Yeah. And it definitely isn't you, Laurie. I think it is. I'm just writing that. I'm doing all the things, but not getting the results.
Yeah. And
Uh,
I've heard other people say that.
yeah.
And I think too, people will say, well, you're not doing the things right. But I think the thing is, and I love what you say about this. I think I get caught up in all the bells and whistles and
Mm.
I don't keep it simple. And so I get bogged down.
I think, I think there's so many things in that. So I definitely think, and I definitely think there's a whole mindset headspace thing and I know there are lots of people online talking about sort of who do you have to be to get to where you want to get to. And it's something that I think it's good to think about. But I also think that the world of social media has, like, it's just taken over our lives, hasn't it? It's literally whatever you're doing, it's like it's taken over business, it's taken over social, it's taken over how the children get to school. You know what I mean? It's just like everywhere all the time. And it makes, I think, one of the negative sides of social media is it makes us business owners, makes you think that you're not doing things enough, you're not doing things well enough, you're not doing things. The irony is I've tested social media stuff for, it must be getting on for 20 years. So when it was much easier to be like to show up because there weren't so many people around. And actually the irony with it all is that the social media world is like, we're so perfect, but actually the thing that people engage with is when you're real and you're not perfect and you're not sort of on the edge of your mansion overlooking the ocean and you're not in your private jet and you're not in your Ferrari and things like that. And I think that that has caused lots of people to think they're not competent enough,
Yeah.
right? Both on a whatever level, but in terms of what you're saying, it's like I'm doing all this social media stuff, but I'm not getting results. And that's because you're following tactics that you haven't got. And you don't have like the path, I guess, of how, what are the steps you need to take to ultimately get the result you want, right? Which is to attract awesome clients. And I know that there's loads on social media about attracting clients and consistent clients and all that stuff, but actually in the end, don't we just want to work with awesome clients who want to work with us, right? And so the social media train, which is a constant, I speak to coaches and business owners, and they're like, I'm spending 6 hours a day trying to do all this social media stuff, and no, it's not resonating. And in the sort of fact of the matter is that to get stuff resonating now with all the machine, the Facebook machine and the YouTube machine and everything like that, if you're just posting, you probably need to do it diligently for a year before you get any traction, right? That no one tells you that bit, and it could even be more. And yes, there are strategies to do it so that you can shortcut some of that time, but nobody tells you that about social media. It's like, you've got to do social media, you've got to post, and actually my thing would be, okay, but is that going to get you closer to where you want to get to? Probably it would, if you want to spend the next 5 years of your life doing it. But if you don't, maybe there are some things that actually are a bit more fun and are going to get you there faster, right? Because I feel like, and maybe I'm just a grumpy old woman on social media, and I do use social media, but I'm using strategies behind the strategies to make it effective when I want it to be, right? And I think it's the first place that everyone goes to, isn't it? Like, I need to get clients, so I'm going to post on social media. Well, maybe that is not the right, that's not, I'm always like looking for the jump, the quantum leap. Like, what are the resources you've got that can get you where you want to get to? And it's different for different people. right? Now, if you said to me, Laurie, you've got to write a page essay of content every day, I would really struggle with that. But if you said I've just got to jump on video, I'd be like, I can just, that's easy for me, but for other people, it's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
So the answer isn't one size fits all. And the answer isn't posting endlessly on social media to get clients to you. Now, it does have a purpose, but that is not the fast route. You know, we're talking about in the workshop, we're talking about having the map that works for you so that you can jump and it sits with your business, right? So what happens over time is people are doing it, they're not getting results, and they start blaming themselves, like you just did.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Going, there must be something wrong with me because it's not working for me. Now, the reason it's not working for you is lots of different things, but the one reason is probably, the main reason is probably because you need to do it consistently for a couple of years before things, you know, start resonating, and you need other things going on to support it. And that is, yeah, so you just don't have all the information. So you're implementing a plan without all the information, and you don't know where all the potholes are, and you might be going around in circles. Who knows?
Well, I feel like it's like there's this so you I love your car samples. So you're trying to get from here to here, and the mainstream is telling you the straight line.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is some of us want to take a more scenic route. We don't want to write a 10-page document every day. It's like, how do we do it the way that works for us, that's the most fun, and gets us connected with people that we really, truly enjoy working with?
And I think, and is the most direct route for you. So I don't think there is a direct, you know, there isn't just one direct route. There isn't like a highway from where you are to where you, but you can create one, right, that suits you. And yes, you might prefer to go the scenic route and not pay the tolls or whatever it is, but actually what you and so many people who have set up a business because they are really awesome at something, they're awesome at something, they want to help people, they know they can help people, they get a few clients, but they don't get enough so that they can be running their business and growing their business in the way that they want to, because they can't attract those clients because they're getting the wrong information, or they're not getting them. Like, to use my analogy, it's like knowing you want to get to point clients, awesome clients city or wherever that is, but you're here and you've got no idea how to get there, and people are just giving you stuff that really isn't helping. And so what we're going to be talking about in the workshop is to give you the map, and also to jump you some steps, because I really like jumping steps, if you know, if you can do that, right?
Yeah, I love that.
And I think if you think about the time, and it's a question I always think, you know, you think about the time you spend like trying to work this stuff out. If you, I mean, again, Laurie, you've sort of done lots of things. You're an expert. You're podcasting expert. You're a radio broadcaster. If you think about how much time you put in, like, to become the person you are so that you can advise people, which is like years and years and years and years and years and years, but also the time that you spent trying to work this out without any guidance or map, or the wrong map. Someone's giving you a map that isn't the one you want.
We're getting plenty of those.
We're getting into our metaphors, and I'm always like, is it going to carry on? But you know, and you think about how much time do you spend? I mean, I guess that's a direct question. How much time have you spent trying to work this out on your own, or trying to work it out with the wrong advice?
Yeah. And I feel like that, you had said something. This is one of the things that drew me to you. You had bought all the courses and you
Mm,
had done all the things and, invested so much, but
mm,
it wasn't really what you needed for where you were. And I
yeah.
I think I had this feeling of being an entrepreneur, like we're supposed to be this magical do it yourself. I didn't really understand partnering, and that has been so wonderful to start
Mm.
partnering with people and understanding and learning from them rather than trying to be this one man show of figuring it out and wasting, like you said, hours trying to figure it out.
I think I mean, I talk about it. I did it a few years ago, and I joke because I did it when it wasn't even online. So you had to fly places, and you had to use CDs and DVDs. But I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to work it out and trying to put all the pieces together. And the answer is that the sequence of how you do what you do is important, and the sequence of how you do what you do in terms of attracting clients will depend on where you start from, who you are, but there are certain things that will fast track it, and there are certain things that are just going to bog you down, and you don't, when I mean, I always joke with like the people we work with. I am a computer software engineer by trade originally, but I wouldn't be doing the websites, I wouldn't be building that, you know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't make sense for me to be sitting there coding stuff or putting, trying to work out funnels and things like that. It makes no sense for me to do that. And it makes no sense for any business owner to do that. So I think people get bogged down with that overwhelm and the sort of tech. And I think, like, we're talking about midlife and
Yeah.
older entrepreneurs. And I think the thing that is the most important thing for people is time, right?
Yeah.
Time. When you're younger, you don't care about time. When you're older, you're like, time is my most valuable asset, so how do I spend it in the best way? So I think what we're doing at Simplified Marketing is to really appreciate the value of time and the value that people have, so that they can use their time really well, not only in their own lives, but helping people in, helping the people that they want to work with, so that they can value time as well. It's like, I feel like it's almost like a social media sort of rebuck of, like, we value our time more. We're not going to spend hours sort of drained over our laptops trying to work all that stuff out, because actually there's always a leap, a jump, a quantum leap, a kind of open door that you can find that is always simpler, like massively faster, and doesn't require that kind of like slogging your guts out sort of hustling is the word I hear all the time. Hustling. I've got to get up and hustle to get my next client, kind of thing. So that's why I love the concept of simplifying things, because I feel like when you do that, you really start to see the open doors and take the leaps. And I think beautiful things happen out of that.
Yeah, and one thing you and Carissa talk about, and I love this because this is what I come up against with my students. They say, "A1, I don't want to make money, but I know they do." And
Yeah.
number two, I'm not a salesperson. I don't want to do
Mm,
sales. And the thing that I love about the way we do it is it's not really sales, it's an invitation. It's like
mm,
I'm not trying to convince anyone you have to have a podcast. I'm like, "Hey, if you want a podcast and you're ready, let's do it the right way. Let's do it and talk in a way that honors people." And
mm,
so I think it's us, we have kind of some scripts running in the back, like making money means you're a sleazy salesperson. Like,
mm,
and I love how you just kind of come up against that and give us permission to
mm,
invite people to work with us.
mm. So I 100%. I think 95% of people hate selling anything. and 95% of people hate public speaking. And there are two things I really enjoy. And
what is wrong with you?
I'm weird, but again, it comes down, like, talking about what is the resistance and what is the fast path, right? And like with selling, it doesn't matter how much you learn a script, how much if you don't feel cool about doing it, like you're never gonna sell anything or anything to anyone, because it's such a transference of energy that everyone, if you're going, oh, I feel really awkward doing this, then the person you're talking to is going, oh, this is really awkward, I want to get off the call, right? And so that is like, that's a total block. And there's no way you're ever going to do anything amazing with that pattern running in your head. And like you say, we're not going into this in detail in the workshop, but being able to invite, turning up to those conversations, feeling totally engaged in what you have, feeling like, I can't wait for you to do this because I so want to help you, serve you, be there for you. I know I can get you amazing results. I know, when you feel like that, then it doesn't feel like selling at all. Yeah. And yes, there is a bit of terminology in shift so that it doesn't sort of, if people are hung up with that word, I feel people are hung up with that word selling. Mm-hmm. But I think, again, it comes down to what your intentions are, what, how you feel about what you're doing, how you feel about the person you're interacting with. And I think this is maybe my slightly odd brain, but I always think that I always saw, even before I kind of understood what I was doing, I always felt like selling was really a way of connecting with people. And so I'd wake up, I'd talk to anyone and everyone in the streets, and because, and my intention isn't to sell you. My intention is to see if I can give you any value, whether there's a way I can help you. And if I know I've got something that's going to save you loads of time, money, and sweat, mm-hmm. then it would be wrong of me not to offer it to you, right? And it's the same with you, Laurie. I could sit, I'm a good example, aren't I? Where I trying to work out my podcast, and I'm just like, for whatever reason, I don't have the time, I don't have the, all of that stuff, and you can just solve it for me really quickly. And it doesn't matter what you do, you're there. You're not an entrepreneur unless you have a level of wanting to kind of help people do stuff. And yeah, there is, there are people in the world for sure who are just like, I want to make money. But I think number one is you do what you love doing. That's why you set up a business. You love helping people, do that faster. And also, the thing about earning money, which I know people say, it depends on the personality, doesn't it? But I think there is definitely a direct correlation between how much value you give to the world and how much money you make. And that isn't how much value could you give to the world. That is a direct correlation of what you're actually doing. So if you're sort of holding yourself back because you're umming and ahhing and you're going, then that you're not going to be making so much money, and therefore you're not serving as many people as you could. So I think it's a healthy attitude to have. I also think that we're talking about, we weren't going to talk about this, but while we're talking about it, I also think that the transformation comes in the investment. And I think there's huge value in when you decide to do something and it's almost irrelevant what you're investing in. It's like you have to go through the emotions of like, I'm gonna commit, I'm gonna do this. and I'm gonna go. And actually, when you have to invest money that you've earned, that you know, or you whatever, however you've got it, and you have to make that commitment, I think there's like so much value in that. So for people who are hung up with charging money for what they do, I would flip that around and say it's not even about you.
Yeah. And if we're coaches, whatever, we want to be a model to our
Yeah.
clients by showing them how it's done. And here's the thing that I love about you is what I've invested in programs where I didn't really know the person, but it seemed like I would get the results. But they had a formula, but they maybe didn't necessarily do that. You have been there, done that, and you know the path because you're doing it.
Mm.
And I think that it's easy to kind of get caught up in putting out money on things that we don't really know are going to work. But working with you and watching all the people that you've helped shows me that you know what you're doing. And I would much rather learn from someone who's been there, done that, than from someone who's just says, "Oh, I know this will work," but they don't.
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
they haven't
think
put any
I think
legwork.
you can judge it pretty fast, can't you, when you talk to people? And you know, it's not how we train people. It's not about me. It's about a system that we take people through. And
Yeah.
if you go through the system and you do the right things and the right steps, you're going to get the same results, right? But I think that there is, and again, there's so many different layers to it, but I think by being around people that have done what you want to do already and have experience, and you can kind of work, like when I talk to people like other business owners, and I know within sort of 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whether, you know, kind of where they are in what they're doing and how much they know. And you know, it's like, it's kind of human interaction, isn't it? And when people are kind of like, yeah, I'm doing, I don't know, whatever they're doing, that, and you speak to them, you're like, not sure you do. I'm not sure you have the experience that perhaps you say you're in. So I think there is a lot of, I think there's a lot of importance in, again, it's almost irrelevant. It's what's relevant is you, Laurie, going, I'm confident I'm in the right room with the right people who can get me to the destination I want to get to. And they've got the map, right? They've got the map. And they're smart enough and cool enough that and understand that my requirements might be slightly different to someone else's requirement.
Right. Yeah.
And when you're in that room, I kind of feel like, I always think, and I have a little saying that I think runs through my whole career, but I always think that there's always a way. That always runs through my head. So there's always a way. You just have to have the right people around you and be calm and cool enough to make the right decisions and not kind of get caught up in the emotional baggage that sometimes this online marketing world leads us into, right?
I love that. Well, you know, we're almost out of time. So I want to say, I know time flies. What I love about this workshop, I'm so excited because it's a workshop. People aren't going to just jump on and listen. We're going to work with them, help them one-on-one. And isn't that what it's really about? We've sort of lost that with COVID and everything. We've kind of gone to this mass of, hey, everybody, but we're like, hey, we're here for you. What is it you need? And so tell us a little bit about the workshop and how we can sign up.
Yes, and you're right. Time has flown by. And I feel like we could talk for hours, but we can't today. But we are, so we're doing a workshop. It's next Tuesday, the 15th of October. I'm going to get the times right. It is 10 a.m. Pacific.
Yes.
1 p.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. UK. And it's called Simplified Marketing. So it's about authentically attracting clients to your business. And we talk about doing it consistently. But as I said, I also think it's like attracting awesome people you want to work with rather than this sort of like machine-like thing, right? You want to be working with people that you want to work with. And after speaking to lots and lots of coaches and business owners, what I realized was that there are some kind of like as we've talked about, the map of actually what does attracting, how do you attract clients? What are the components? What are you trying to do? What is the high level map and route that you need to have? And understanding the principles of what you're doing in your marketing and client attraction, because I speak to so many people who are like, I'm doing loads of social media, and I'd be like, so what's the intent, and how is that working? And all they can say is, I'm just doing loads of social media, right? And like when I met he's like, I've got a webinar funnel, and I'm blah 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 blah, and I'm like, so what's in there, and so I think it's important to have a high level map of what everything you do to attract people and get new clients in your business. And when you understand that, I've always got
I love it that yours still does that.
normally,
Last time we got balloons.
yeah. And then once you've got that, you can apply it for the rest of your life. It doesn't change, right?
Right.
It's
Because
core
it's
components and
yeah.
principles of attracting clients.
Right. And, I'll just say this. I used to train horses. And the one thing, and especially the ones you bring off the track, the race horses, because opposite of a trail horse, you give them slack reins when you want to go forward and you pull back when you want to stop. Well, race horses, you pull back when you want to go faster. And so it's retraining them. And what happens is they get going, and then all of a sudden they're like, I don't know what to do. And so we take them back to step one. And it takes maybe 5 minutes. It's not like the very first day of training where it may take 3 or 4 days, but it's like we go back to the simple step one, and then we go, we take a breath, and we're like, that's what I'm about. And so it's so easy to kind of get overwhelmed, but it's like, let's go back to the simple procedure. And I love that that's what you do for us, for me, and helping us be successful because our message matters.
So we're going to do that to start with, and then what we're going to do is I call it, I think I mentioned yesterday, I call it a little offer treasure hunt. We're going on a little treasure hunt, and the reason we're going to do that is because there is a kind of I'm going to give people a toolkit or a set of things to do, set of tasks to do, and we're going to do it in the workshop as well, so that you can jump forward and save yourself. I always like months, weeks, months, years of time, and thousands of dollars or whatever it is that's costing you to try and work out what it is that your clients really want and how do you offer that to them. So we're going to be on this little treasure hunt to find out what are people buying in the market. What are they buying, and how do you know what they're buying, and how do you find those out, and how do you take the learnings from that and apply it to your own business? So that's kind of cool. And we're going to actually do that in the workshop. And then finally, just to finish things off in the workshop, we are going to set, and we've talked about this all the time today, but actually, what is the sequence of steps that you need to take to get to where you want to get to? So you're walking away with a kind of, I like to call it an activation plan. So you're like, oh, right. So I know that's so then all that noise that is constantly bombarded at us goes away, because you're like, no, I know I'm doing that. And as I said, it's similar for most people, but there are some differences for different people, and it really depends who's in the room. And as we said yesterday, we like to just make sure everyone gets where they need to get to and answer any questions. So we will get it into a 2-hour slot, but we will also be around to answer any questions and help anyone who needs help.
It's very personalized.
Yeah. So to come, we better tell them where they've got to go to. You just have to go to www.simplifiedmarketinglive.com/Laurie, and Laurie is Laurie. And we'll put the link below this video, but it's www.simplifymarketinglive.com/Laurie. Get your place. We will welcome everybody, but there is a restriction to the amount of people we can take just because we're going to be doing stuff. So get your place as soon as you can, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you so much. I am so excited. Thank you, Laura.
Good too. Thanks so much. Speak